Hi, this is Pat.
This is Rich.
And this is Don.
And we're T-Bone Jam. You're listening to Danny Coleman's Rock On Radio.
Hello, Producer Claire.
How are you?
I am old, fat, and tired.
Not necessarily in that order.
True. I mean, yeah. You pick whatever you want. Hello, and welcome to Rock On Radio. I am your host, Danny Coleman, and we are coming to you from the 2 Tracks studios of Deco Entertainment.
Woo.
Here in the hinterlands of the Sourlands.
Where'd that come from?
I got nothing. I don't know. Maybe it was the chicken fingers.
It might have been. Could
Or
be.
that secret sauce.
Your mind is going to mush.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Now I don't give a pluck about anything.
Oh, boy.
Bad dad jokes.
No.
Welcome here.
Oh, no. We're really in trouble. Really bad.
Anyway. I think the pirate jokes went over pretty well, despite Bruce's protest last week.
You did the Reader's Digest version. That's why.
Correct.
You're good at that.
I condense.
Yes.
Right. Rock On Radio is sponsored by Lillipies of Princeton. They had their big Lillipalooza this past weekend.
That's right.
I'm not sure how it turned out, but
Princeton Shopping Center.
I'm sure Jen will tell us eventually.
Yes. That was their 8th anniversary. They've been there 8 years.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
8 years?
They've been
Wow.
there 8 years, yeah. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Amazing.
We got to go there and have her give us something for free
She's always
to celebrate
good
her
to
8
us.
years.
I'm sure she never, ever.
I think I got that backwards.
What?
We should give her something for free.
We should give her something for free. We should actually pay for something for once. She's so good. She won't let us pay. We get there and she's like, no. Take percentage off.
That's absurd.
That's right.
That's right.
That's like
301
our promo
North
code.
Harrison Street, inside the Princeton Shopping Center. Yes, Jen makes hand grenades of happiness, and we eat them till we explode. Just like O'Connor's American Bar and Grill of East Hampton, Mount Holly, New Jersey, the official caterers of Rock On Radio. Jersey Shore Jazz and Blues Foundation. Boy,
Yay!
Are you playing the festival this year?
I am, yeah.
Oh, even better.
Better. Yeah.
See that? Our guest, who we will introduce in a minute, is performing at the Jazz and Blues Festival on August 24th in Long Branch, the Long Branch Jazz and Blues Festival, which you and I are the MCs.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yay.
Fantastic.
I think every
Yes.
year we love it.
Yes, we love the Jersey Shore Jazz and Blues Foundation.
Really,
The
you're
best.
the MC, though. I'm just the handler.
Or as Helen reached out to me
Oh, yeah?
about Camp Moore
Oh, yeah.
because they had this post, a memory must have popped up on her
Oh,
social
gotcha.
media. And she thanked everybody, including me.
Oh, good.
I didn't get left out.
Good.
And for doing so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And I said, I was always happy to do so for that event. And she said, yes, many thanks to you and your Wrangler.
Oh, now I'm a wrangler?
Now you must rope
I'm a
me.
wrangler. I'm a long way from home.
I don't know, but
Apparently,
you might.
before you handle, you have to wrangle.
Wrangle. I
Apparently
guess.
so.
A rambler.
Hel-
I'm a
you know
gambler.
Helen
I'm a
O'Shea,
long way
right?
from home.
Rope them in.
Do you know Helen O'Shea?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, the first time she ever asked me to MC one of the Camp Moore events at the Princeton Elks, she said to Claire, well, you need to come too. And Claire said, why? Well, he needs a handler. A handler?
I handed him this. I handed him that.
And she was like, to keep him away from the Jemison before the event starts.
Oh.
I was unsuccessful.
I didn't know she thought I had little willpower.
She was worse. She's the one that enticed you.
So the event's still got like 20 minutes to go. She comes up, she grabs me by the arm. She says, "Come on, we're going to the bar." I need a Jemison.
I was like, wait a minute, I was supposed to stop you. Didn't work.
That's how that works.
So now I'm a Wrangler.
Right. And Wranglers must wear Sinister footwear.
Yes, they do.
That's
Every
right.
day.
You need to go to sinisterfw.com and buy a pair of wrangling socks. I'm sure Tina's got some sort of socks in there.
Is that a real thing?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sinister FW.
Use the promo code DCR Socks and you'll get 10% off.
I like
Your
the name.
order.
Sinister Footwear. Is
Sinister
Wait till you
footwear.
see their logo. It's even better.
yeah.
She's got all kinds of socks. Historical events on them, sporting,
Harry
like
Potter,
different kind
every
of sports.
Peanuts,
Peanuts,
every cartoon
cartoon
character,
characters, new
WrestleMania.
shows on television, old shows off television,
Yeah.
Musical notes.
musical stuff,
That's possible,
historic
yeah.
stuff. There's everything. SinisterFW.com. Dee Dee's Lights. Our official.
Go back to the pirate jokes.
It's because I got this lozenge in my mouth here. They are the official Chandler of Rock On Radio. You can find her on social media only. But if you look close on her Facebook page and Instagram, as well as ours, there are pictures of the candles that she chandled for the 15th anniversary.
Wranglers
bash.
and Chandlers, and there's all kinds of stuff going on.
We're a multifaceted operation here at Rock On Radio. Cigar Beauty. See, I can light a cigar off one of Dee Dee's candles.
Can you, though?
No, I'll try when I go home.
Before you do, though, you have to be wearing some Sinister Footwear.
Exactly.
Yes. You have to keep your
See?
toes warm.
That's right.
Keep you on your toes, at
That's
least.
right.
That's true. Maybe I'll get some cigar socks for our sponsor, Cigar Beauty.
That's right.
Holly is the purveyor of Crown Majesty cigars, which you can find at crownmajestyscigars.com. But you need to follow her on Instagram at cigar.beauty. Phoenix Art Supplies and Framing, located on Route 611, otherwise known as Southeastern Road in Doylestown.
That's right.
Chuck Schaefer and his
Chuck.
wife, Jenny,
Yeah.
are the owners of Phoenix Art Supplies and
Framing.
Framing.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
I ran into them in Lambertville just walking down the street a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
Oh, no kidding.
Hadn't seen them in years, but yeah.
That's
I had that same issue happen. See, I think this is a plot by the Schaefer family
They're everywhere.
because I hadn't seen
Everywhere,
Chuck
everywhere.
in probably 4 or 5 years. Not that I hadn't spoken with him or communicated.
At the Hopewell hayrides.
That's the last time I
Yeah.
saw Chuck, like
Yeah.
at the Hopewell Hayride and at the
Before COVID.
Blackwell, at the Methodist Church there in
Mhm,
Hopewell.
yeah.
And all of a sudden, at my happy hour, in walks Chuck Schaefer. Then the next day, I see him again. I saw him twice in like 24 hours.
You wrangled them in, man.
Hey, wait. That's my job.
She's the wrangler. But yes, they are having a special $40 off any order of $200 or more to celebrate their 40th anniversary.
Yep.
NewJerseyStage.com.
Yay.
Yay, New Jersey Stage.
He's such a good guest.
He knows all of them.
Yeah, right.
Can you tell him and I have run in the same circles as they speak? NewJerseyStage.com. And Gary does a fine job of allowing us to post this show on his site, thepenguinrocks.com, as well as publish my column every Thursday. This Thursday, about an old prog rock band. This past Thursday, about an old prog rock band called Pangea. Interesting as it is.
I see.
Go check that out. Rock On This Week's Soundbites on NewJerseyStage.com. Along with AsburyParkVibes.com. Go to AsburyParkVibes.com and you'll see that Diane and Doug have an entire staff of photographers ready and willing to bring you music or shots of music events from all over the area, most specifically the Asbury Park area, but
They travel everywhere.
they also do
Podcast.
bios and press releases for bands and band websites, and they have a fantastic podcast.
Yes.
So, and I have to say it, Diane, she's on my list.
Oh.
Yeah, not the good list either at this moment.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
She asked for a key back.
No, now I'm holding it hostage. Now, you know that she's the manager of the Break Plans.
Yes.
Who were supposed to be here like 3 weeks ago
I know while she was away.
while she was away in Alaska.
Right.
They called me and left me a voicemail telling me that they had it on their calendar for July
Oh, no.
26th, not June. And Diane texted me and, apologized up and down and so on and so forth. I'm really mad they didn't show up. So I said, we are too. But of
She
course
really
I
didn't
said, I'm
believe you.
teasing you. I'm teasing you.
She needs a wrangler.
So she needs a wrangler, yes.
Or they do. She abdicated her wrangler-ness.
So she tells me that she'll give me a call once they get back home from the cruise. Okay.
Well, she didn't say when.
So a few days go by, and she texts me. She said, I'll give you a call this afternoon. And this was like 2 weeks ago.
Maybe she did.
And she
Might not have got it.
She says, just like everyone who goes on a cruise, that she came down with COVID.
Oh, no.
Okay. So she got COVID. Therefore, she forgets to call me. She said, I'll call you as soon
That's
as
just one of the symptoms.
She says, I'll call you as soon as I get better. Okay. So I'm still waiting for her to call me.
Maybe she's not
But
better.
meanwhile, she's out shooting shows.
Sounds like the music business.
Exactly.
Sounds like my ex-wife. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, the music business, that too.
And she wasn't shooting shows.
So obviously she has totally forgotten about me.
Aw.
And
Are they going
as
to be at the Jazz and Blues Festival?
She might be.
maybe
You might make her come.
may guilt her into
That's
it.
right.
There you go.
However,
Wrangler
as,
over.
as my wrangler, I think she should do something about
There
that.
you go.
All right. You just didn't ask me to wrangle. I will wrangle away.
When it comes to
We will
doing
wrangle,
things
wrangle,
like
wrangle.
Claire is much better at dealing with people than
Oh, yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
When I first started this show, I was like, all right, no worries, no problem. Now I'm old and jaded, and I'm
Oh,
like,
he's a grump,
I'm like,
man.
"Ew,
Grump.
I'm done. Move on. Let's go.
He's such a grump.
Had it.
You're
Had it.
He is. He's like an old grumpy old man.
I'm an old, jaded veteran. You know that meme from of that scene from Grumpy Old Men?
Oh, that's
What do you
so
want to do now? I don't know. Want to get drunk? It's 3:00 in the afternoon. I know. Okay.
That's you, grumpy old man.
That's right.
You have to say that in like pirate speak.
We did that last week. Last pirate joke. Pirate walks into a bar with a roll of paper towels on his head. Bartender says, what's up with that, bud? What's that on your hat? He goes, I got a bounty on me head. Last pirate joke.
Whoa. Oof.
Shiver me timbers.
Right? Why did the Mexican man go on antidepressants?
Jose Juan.
He wanted to quell his panic attacks.
Ba-dum-bum.
Anyway. Now I'm lost. I forgot
know
where I
you are.
left off.
You are.
Where do we? That's right. The official beer providers of Rock On Radio would be the Old Heights Brewing Company, located at 119 West Ward Street in Heightstown,
Fantastic.
New Jersey. Have you ever had their brews?
I've been there.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Did you just walk in, or did you have a beer?
Well, you gotta have beer when you go
Okay,
there.
all right.
That's
Did
right.
you perform there?
Yeah.
Excellent, even better.
See? This is like a list
really
of Jim's
gotta
life.
get-
This is your life.
I really need to get back there
That's
because
very sad, but yes.
I really need to get back there because I want to try to see if they'll do a Rock on Radio beer.
You should.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A brew.
That's right. Okay, Claire, who else? What else have I missed?
Sandy Hall.
Oh, that's right, Sandy Hall. Sandy Hall has just put out a brand new album called Full Circle. It is a fantastic compilation of her original songs. And you can find that at sandyhallmusic.com.
That's it.
And that's it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. Now, how can they find us?
They go to dcror.com, which is the short link for Danny Coleman's rockonradio.com.
That's right. Facebook, Danny Coleman's Rock on Radio, the number 2. Danny Coleman's Rock on Radio 2 at Facebook. Or Facebook.com/Danny Coleman's Rock on Radio 2. Instagram and Twitter X are at Rock on Radio, all one word, all capital letters. Which brings us to our guest.
Yay!
Finally.
My turn to cheer. Yay! Well, he's been cheering so nicely for all of our sponsors, so I get to cheer for
There you
him.
go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thought
So-
you meant
one-
you were like bored stiff over there. Wow.
I am the board operator.
That's right.
But I'm bumped.
Jim, he was very impressed with our
Our hall pass.
Here's your stiff board here.
our paper in its original form.
Yeah, that's right. We're very into raw materials here.
That's right.
Keep it simple.
That's right.
He is currently from, or where are you from originally?
Where I grew up,
Yeah.
in South Plainfield, New Jersey,
Ooh.
Middlesex County. Yes.
Nice.
Originally from South Plainfield and Middlesex County. Right. Currently a Hopewell resident. He is a fabulous musician,
Yes.
guitarist. He has been in here with several incarnations of musicians. Last time I was with Venture to Zen,
Correct.
And I missed that one.
and now he's here because he has this great jazz fusion type of project.
Well, not really. There's improvisation in it, which is inherent in jazz. Some of the harmonies are jazz-like, but it's very, very different. It's hard to explain. I'm glad you had me on the show to give me some time to speak
To
about
explain
Yes.
it,
because it's like Americana, classical music, maybe a little bit of jazz, maybe a little folk kind of things are all part of it.
are we still talking about Supernova?
No.
Oh, well, that's where I was going with that. Well, then let's find out ourselves. Please welcome James Popick.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Coleman.
Supernova has exploded.
No more Supernova?
Yeah, no, Supernova's
Oh, okay.
viable and going strong. We are playing the Jazz and Blues Festival.
Nice.
Fantastic.
And, I have some bunch of original music with that band. We can talk about Supernova the rest of the show if you want, but
No.
I was hoping to talk about the
Nice.
Sarahland
tell
Symphony
me-
record.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so it's 9 songs, all instrumental, all acoustic, upright bass, cello, violin, mandolin,
Ooh.
percussion, and of course acoustic guitar.
Okay.
So it's because it's acoustic guitar based. It has elements of Americana, but with the cello and the violin, it gives it kind of a classical vibe. But like I said, there's improvisation in it, so we kind of jam a little bit. So it's not jazz fusion, it's not classical, it's not Americana, but at the same time, it's all of those things kind of mixed together.
Okay. Well, you had mentioned earlier before we went on air that you got Joe Dennison playing
Yes,
violin from Stratusfurious, who has called this program before and who I did a write-up for, who's currently on the road. He took Robbie Steinhardt's place in Kansas,
Kansas,
as the
right, yeah.
violinist. How did you happen upon Joe?
I met Joe probably, man, I want to say like 12, 13 years ago. He's been working with a woman by the name of Ann Layton.
Oh yeah, I
She,
know Ann.
she does a lot of,
That's how
you
I
know,
came upon Joe, because she asked me to start helping him out with some PR.
that was a wild story. We had some mutual friends and a guy named Henry McCullough, who was the guitar player on with Paul McCartney in the band Wings. He played on a lot of the famous records that Wings produced. He was in the country doing like a Beatles memorabilia kind of, personality tour kind of thing. So Ann put together a show for him at the Iridium in New York City, and she tapped me to kind of be like the band musical director, and got Joe to play with us. So I got rhythm section, me, a bass player and a drummer, and Joe was on it, and we backed up Henry, and it was a crazy few days,
I bet.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so that's how that came about. Who's the cellist on the recordings?
There's two. There's Aaron Minsky, who's a friend of Joe's, and Dan Castle, who actually lives here in Hopewell with me.
That's who I was thinking.
Yeah.
That would have been Dan, because he plays. I know he plays a lot around this area.
Yeah.
Okay, and you got percussion, Chuggy.
Chuggy Carter is on it.
Nice.
Dan Monahan is a drummer out of Philadelphia. He plays on 2 tracks. A good friend of mine, his name is Kart Takea. He plays hand pans, hand percussion, and cajon on it. And my old friend Andy Unoviak from 10 Foot Tall Band. I still work with him a lot of different things. He played I asked him to set up like an orchestral kind of thing. So it's like cymbals, floor tom. He did some interesting kind of like, it's not exactly drum kit, but kind of like the instruments in a drum kit, but in an orchestral manner.
Cool.
Okay.
So
Now, my first encounter with you there, my friend, was when you were in 10 Foot Tall. I don't remember if it was you or somebody else I knew in the band, but asked me to just come out and do some background percussion at John and Peter's, of all places. And that was, I just remember thinking to myself, because you guys are like 6 or 7 pieces, right? Back in the day?
yeah.
And me there, and I mean, how we all fit on that little square
It's like something happens when you go down there. It's just like you make it happen,
That is true. And I remember I had a blast playing with you guys. I had never heard the music, just kind of sat in and filled in and stayed behind. But that was a great band.
Oh, yeah.
10 Foot Tall. And then you kind of did and please stop me when I'm wrong, because notice I said
Wait,
when
stop.
when I'm wrong.
Stop.
Not if I'm wrong, but when I'm wrong. But then you kind of did a solo thing, and then you were with Venture to Zen,
Correct.
and then you did the Supernova thing, and now this, right?
We're up to date. Yep.
Right. and James is directly responsible for me emceeing the Sourland
Yeah, that's right.
Mountain
That's right.
Conservancy event all those years.
That's where I met you, I think, the first time. Yeah.
I remember that first year, there was like 300 people there. And that last year, before COVID, that I emceed,
When it lost power.
there were like...
Was that when they lost power that one year?
Oh, my God.
Was
I
that the
forgot
year?
about that.
No, they
Yeah,
did.
yeah, that
part
might
of
have
it.
been.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to have acoustic out front. Everybody
Oh, yeah, that's right. But that year, by the time that year had rolled around, the place was mobbed.
Oh, yeah. We built it up great. Yeah.
Are you still involved with that? or
I
no?
haven't been. I mean, I still talked to some of the folks that are involved, but I haven't really been involved in a couple years. I had done it for like 10, and it's a lot of work, you know. And I think after a while, it was like, all right, we got this. We birthed this baby. It's up and walking. It's up and running. Now it's time to kind of let it go a little bit, you know. I'm glad they're still doing it. They've since moved over to Unionville Vineyards, which is a nice place to have it, but it is a little bit smaller there. So the event, you know, it's like anything else. It evolves and changes over the years.
Over the years, yeah. And there was always some great acts that were there. Anthony Kreisen, Denelia Cotton,
Oh, yeah.
you guys, the Gumbo Goombas.
Oh, yeah.
So take us through a little bit, and then we're going to get into some music. Take us through the career of James Popick. Now, you're a guitar player. Is there anything else in your arsenal that you dabble with or perform with?
Well, as a kid, I started on piano, and I went to college for music. And obviously, in school, you have to take multiple instruments. So I, you know, had a couple semesters of piano, and I still write some music on piano. And so I don't really perform that much on piano, although I am playing in a band called Gold Rush, which does all Neil Young music, and we're starting to incorporate some of his piano songs. So I'm doing that. So
okay.
Nice.
it's kind of cool. Yeah.
So, did I see you played with? Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. The guy that does the Neil Young tribute that's been on this show before on several occasions.
Ooh, I don't know.
I'm drawing a blank.
No, this band is Gold Rush. We're actually playing at Havana in New Hope on Friday, August 2nd. But it's me, Andy Unoviak, Andy J from 10 Foot Tall drummer, Rob Frazier on bass.
Okay.
He lives in Easton, and Briz is the main. He sings. He's the lead singer and rhythm guitar player. I do leads and harmony vocals with that. So it's a tight 4-piece band.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Did you just do a Neil Young tribute thing with somebody else recently?
No.
Okay, that was somebody else I was thinking of. I got them confused. Not Jonathan T. Okay, he's in. I think his band is called After the Gold, After the Flood, or After the Gold Rush, or.
I'm thinking there's a band called Broken Arrow that's in the region.
Yes, but that's not his.
Okay.
All right, so you play the guitar, you do play piano as well, and you're definitely a songwriter because I've heard your original music, and 10 Foot Tall concentrated mostly on originals. Have you found yourself as the dominating songwriting force in all these?
Well,
Different.
The way I look at it, Danny, is I was never good enough for an elder statesman to say, "You're awesome. I want you in my band." Everything that I've ever had to do, I did it myself. You know what I mean?
I find that
So
shocking. If you want to know the truth,
because
you're
of that,
hell of a guitar player.
well, because of that, it's like, okay, well, if I'm the guy getting the gigs, I'm organizing the band. We're going to do what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of by default, really, in a way. I mean, it would have been fantastic to have, I don't know, name a classic rock band or a fantastic jazz musician, who's 15, 20 years older than me, who may have said, man, come play with my band. And, that's the way it's always done in the past, really. You kind of, it's almost like an apprenticeship,
Right.
But that never happened. So, one day I said, if I'm going to make a living or some kind of career out of music, I have to do it myself. I'm not going to have that apprenticeship where I can then leap off of that. I'm going to have to create my own opportunities. So, that's what happened. I mean, as I said before, I went to college for music, played in rock bands, and, it's a common story. You play cover bands and eventually say, man, I want to do my own music. And that's kind of how 10 Foot Tall came about. it's a longer story for another show, but it started out as an acoustic duo. We had a ridiculous name called the Electric Enchiladas. And and I said, well, I want to start writing my own. I want to do my own music, So we started with that band, and from that, I started meeting other musicians who were better, who made me a better player, and that band evolved into 10 Foot Tall. So it took 10 years, but that's basically in the short story synopsis.
Okay, I didn't realize that. Well, the only genre really these days where they still do that kind of, intern or apprenticeship type of thing is the blues.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these old blues guys, they love to pass the torch.
Yep, blues and jazz, which is similar, Yeah.
Right. And the one who comes to mind for me, of course, is Joe Louis Walker, who he calls them his puppies because there's so many people have come through his band that are now have their own blues careers, and he gave them a start. Like, all right, yeah, come on up and play with me and then invited them to stay or come out and do shows, and you don't really see that. Well, you never see that in pop music,
right?
Because that's a whole egotistical market there, but. You see it in jazz a bit, but nobody even ever knows who the players are in jazz to begin with, let alone the ones that are sitting in now. And to go that route is, I mean, you went the route that gives adage, I guess, or gives credence to that old adage: if you want something done, you got to do it yourself.
Exactly.
And I mean, I think that's great. If you're just tuning in, I am here with James Popick. So this new project is Sourland Symphony.
Correct.
That's the name of the band. Or the
It's not really a band. It's a special recording project.
Okay. So where did you record these tunes?
I recorded them at Hopetown Sound, which is in Doylestown now. It's run by Pierre Giacalone, who he used to have a studio in Carversville, Pennsylvania, but he moved over to Doylestown. Fantastic engineer. He was based in New York City for a long time, but he moved out here, and he helped me so much in this project, just in terms of sound and more as like an archivist, because it took, this project took me 7 years to do.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Because I started it, ran into some financial problems, had to set it aside for a while. The whole COVID, lockdown, whatever you want to call it, put the kibosh on a lot of things for like a year at least, so there was a period of maybe almost 3 years where I was still writing, but I wasn't doing any recording because, I was counting my pennies. And then finally, maybe I guess it was 2 years ago now, things got kind of back to normal. I had some money, to pay the musicians and stuff like that. So
Nice.
Don't say that too loud. The government might be listening. Thank God we're in a soundproof room. Oh, that's fantastic.
So-
Well, you sent us 4 or 6 different tracks. What you
I
sent?
think I gave you guys 4. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do some
You wanna
music.
listen
Which
to it?
one would you like
That would
us
be
to
fantastic.
start with?
Green Mountain Melting.
Green Mountain Melting.
Melting, yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Did that just to test me, didn't you? All right. What's this? You want to preface this in any way? Or?
Well, sure. The record is inspired by and dedicated to the Sourland Mountain, Sourland region. And this particular song actually came to me when I was driving home from Vermont one day. It applies to the Sourlands, but it doesn't have to be, that specific. But it was late winter, early spring, and we're driving through the Green Mountains, and they were melting. So, just the beauty of the surroundings kind of inspired a melody, and I got home, I wrote the melody, wrote some of the harmonic progressions, and then there you have it.
Well, there it is. Once again, this is Rock on Radio. Producer Claire is here with me. Our guest is James Popick. And here is Green Mountain Melting. The Sourland Symphony Project.
Like it.
Well, I guess we could call you all sorts of things. The owner, the magistrate, the king of the Sourland Symphony Project. Yeah, it is your project. Now, did you write everybody's individual parts, or did you leave it up to them?
So a lot of the melodies were specifically written, but as I mentioned before, there is a lot of improvisation. So I had charts for a lot of the guys, violin parts, cello parts, chord charts for the bass. There wasn't really too many specific bass lines. But, so I would play the rhythm guitar part, say, this is how the melody goes, rehearse it one time, go through it, and usually they nailed it. If not, I would say, well, let's do this here, let's do that here, and then when we get to the open or the improvisational section, just go for it. And the players are such a high caliber that, 2 takes really, and that was it.
Did you give them that artistic freedom?
Oh, yeah.
When they hit the... Because one of the things that I never understood, excuse me, about... I understand it, but I never really understood it, and if that makes sense, and hopefully it will in a second, about jazz.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're listening to these great jazz players. I used to go over to oh my God, what's the name of
Candlelight?
it? Temperance House over in Newtown, Pennsylvania. And I used to go there to watch my buddy used to play in a jazz band there on Wednesday or Thursday nights. And they would just be cooking along, and they're like, man, this is great. And then they would get to another tune, and they would kind of be cooking along, and then they would stop, and they would get into that quote-unquote improv section, where, it sounded like this, my buddy's a fantastic drummer, studio musician. So I know he can play, but it sounded like he's like just banging on a pot, and then the bass player's kind of like doing one of those and it's like it became like controlled chaos.
Okay.
Like a cacophony of controlled chaos. How's that for alliteration?
Whoa.
Wow.
We're bringing in all kinds of educational stuff now. And I never understood, and I'm all about improv because, I love the blues. So you can do a lot of improv during a solo section,
Right.
and or vocal scat, whatever you want to call it. But in jazz, here you got this really great tune that's cooking, and all of a sudden it breaks down into that, and I never quite understood why.
Okay. I can give you a little, just my thoughts on that. A lot of jazz musicians can have a little snobby attitude, like, we're better than you, that kind of thing. As a trained, educated musician, there is a certain complexity to it that's not found in pop music. So I think that's why some jazz players have that attitude. They shouldn't. All music is legitimate. It does not have to be complicated to be good, right? You can have a 2-chord thing and it can be great, Having said that, it's just like any other kind of music. There's good rock. There's crappy rock. There's good jazz. There's crappy jazz. So I don't know what kind of experience you had, but just because people tend to think of jazz musicians as a little bit more esoteric doesn't mean they're that
Good word for 'em.
they're better,
Right.
right? So you could have experienced. Can I curse? You could have experienced a shitty night. It's just fucking wasn't that good.
I've had
Most of the times in jazz music, or even on some of these songs that were on this record, there is what you call the head, where the melody or the tune is stated, and then you have the improv or the jam section. And what you're supposed to do is improv. What's the root word in improv? You're supposed to improve the melody. A lot of people don't do that. Their ego gets involved and they say, look how great I am. And it's not good, right? So if you have great musicians who improve the melody and make it their own, you're jamming, you're making your own statement out of it, then it's good. But if you don't improve during the improvisation, then it goes downhill.
Right. And it doesn't matter where. I mean, this particular time it was at the Temperance House. Other times, I mean, I've been out in California and seen jazz acts, and it was the same thing. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And it's not that I dislike jazz. I mean, I could sit down and listen to jazz a lot. I Lionel Hampton. I've got old Lionel Hampton 78s. I've got things of Larry Coryell and jazz fusion stuff and John McLaughlin. I mean, I could listen to that I could listen to Supernova. I mean, you guys are freaking great. Because when you improv, you stay within the song. And you don't go off on a tangent like that. So that was the thing that always confused me. So that's why I asked if you wrote the material or not, because I'm familiar with all the projects you've been involved in. Excuse me. And did you find it? Was there any pushback from the people on this disc, or were they pretty much like, all right, whatever you want?
I'm not sure what you mean by pushback, but
like were they like, well, that's great, but I really want to do this here. I think it'll be,
No.
Okay.
No. They all, had an idea of what I wanted, and they're professional enough to know that the best thing to do is to support the music at hand and not make it about them. You have to make it about the music. And it was, like I was saying before, the music is different than bebop or blues or, power trio rock. So it had restrictions in that way. Like if you can't come into like a song like Green Mountain Melting with acoustic bass, acoustic guitar, and try to like do something weird like you're talking about.
Right.
It just wouldn't fit. So, they're smart.
There are guys that would try.
Well, these guys I had on the record are smart and they care enough. That's the thing.
Sure.
They cared about the project. So, they want to make it good.
As they should.
Yeah.
Website, social media. What do you? How do I send people to find everything you're involved with?
Okay. Well, my personal website is my name, James Popik, Popik music, jamespopikmusic.com. There's all sorts of links there. The record can be found on Bandcamp. If you type in my name on Bandcamp, go bandcamp.com. Search James Popik or the Sourland Symphony. It'll come up. I think if you just do a Google search, Sourland Symphony, or even my name, I got enough presence that the website and the projects will come up.
Okay. I noticed that you do a duo thing over at the Dubliner and then over at Logan Inn and on the other side of the river here. What kind of duos are they? Are they a little bit of everything, or are they more of a jazzy thing?
Well, at the Logan, I do jazz there, yeah. They have me there on Wednesday night. I do a solo thing. I play there on the weekends. I do like a duo or trio there. But the project that I'm involved with that's at the Dubliner is with Mark Stewart, who's on two of the tracks on Sourland Symphony. And he's a mandolinist. He plays bouzouki and fiddle. So that's more like an Americana. He does some Irish music. We do some acoustic classic rock for that. It's a different project.
So that's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How is that? I have never been to the Dubliner.
Oh, that's great.
I know plenty of people I know perform there,
Yeah.
like Fiona
Mhm.
Tyndall and Thomas Johnston, the guys in Nawadak. I haven't talked to them in years, but years back I used to share a lot of the same gigs with them guys, with the trio I was in.
Mhm.
Is it is that receptive to original music or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The owner there is great. He lets us do it pretty much whatever we want there. But we, because like I said, it's with Mark, and we've had a long relationship. We used to play in trios going back, I don't know, 20 years. So it's kind of like his thing. That's not really like a band per se. It's just like, we have an established relationship when we do certain material there. But as far as the venue, it's great. It's just, it's a traditional Irish pub. You can walk in and there's the bar, and they got dining room, and we play in the back room, and it's real intimate space, probably 30, 40 people there hang out and just,
Nice. Fantastic.
just play. Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, I have James Popick with me here. Has a new project, Sourland Symphony. So take us through the recording of it a little bit. Was it like herding cats trying to get everybody together, or would you just set certain dates and say, I need you now?
It wasn't like herding cats like a gig. Because I had, the material written, and I had recorded kind of what they call scratch tracks at home. So I would give this scratch tracks to the guys, the bass player, the percussionists, and the soloists. And a lot of the stuff was live in the studio, but in general, we recorded the rhythm tracks first. So, like I said, I gave them the scratch tracks with charts. They did their homework. We went to the studio. We recorded the rhythm tracks pretty much live, between the bass, drums, or percussion, and acoustic guitar. So that was set. And then we brought in the other instruments, the cello, violin, and Mark on the mandolin. So it was a production in that it was layered, but it's not a whole lot. Like, we did the rhythm tracks, and then we did the lead tracks, and that was it. It wasn't like doubling any part,
Right.
or a lot of editing or anything like that.
Now, are you the producer
Yes.
for the record? Okay, so you're the guy that, and you had the engineer, you said, was the gentleman who owned the recording studio.
Right.
And so you were the producer. Now, how was that relationship between you and the engineer? Was that cohesive, or were
Yeah, no, it wasn't like a pop or rock record, in that a lot of times an engineer likes to look at himself as a producer. I've had that experience as well. Pierre brought in technical expertise as far as miking and where to place the instruments in the room to get the best sound. But as far as producing the form of the songs, the length of the songs, whether the solo should go this way, he was hands off on all that. That was, this is my baby. I'm going to tell the musicians, okay, that was good. Let's try something else here. That was all up to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that your first delve into being a producer, or did you do one of the other?
Well, no, I mean, as we were talking before, 10 Foot Tall put out 3 records. So I, had the similar experience there.
Okay.
The third record that 10 Foot Tall did, we did work with a guy, David Ivory, out of Philadelphia, and he was what you would call a traditional producer. He helped with arranging and, suggesting, well, before you go to the bridge, instead of just kind of jamming, why don't we write a specific bass line to kind of lead into the bridge? He was more of like a traditional, rock and roll producer in that sense.
Okay. Now, before we get to some more music, we were saying that this is only available currently digitally, but you have something coming along in August.
Funny you bring that up. Yeah, it's digitally available now. There was a decision, I made a while ago. Should I produce CDs? And I said, no, I'm going to do digital, and I'm going to do vinyl for, hardcore people. So that's what we're going to do. And I have a company out of Burlington, Vermont, and Burlington. I'm trying to think of the exact name. Burlington Record Company, I think it's called, who are producing the vinyl, and they told me it'll be ready in August. So I'm thinking probably end of August for the vinyl.
All right. Well, producer Claire is typing away over there, so she is prepping another tune. What would you like us to?
Well, I think West Mountain might be the next one. Really features Joe on the violin. It's got some great melodies, which I did write. So, kind of tie into what we were talking about, the initial melodies I wrote. I asked Joe to play these specific melodies, but you'll hear when it goes into the improvisational section, and then you hear when it comes back, and hopefully it's not too crazy.
It's not a cacophony.
No.
All right. Here is James Popick with his Sourland Symphony and the song called
West Mountain.
Here we go. The Sourland Symphony
I love that.
at here on Rock On Radio. What made you decide to go all instrumental?
Well, that's a good question. The inspiration for the material came from the Sourland mountain. You know, I would go like hiking, just out for a walk, and this is a really nice experience. I want to represent that in music, and I actually never even thought about it, Danny. It was just like, this experience needs to be instrumental. If I put words to it, it would become a whole different thing. Then it becomes more of a pop song, which is fine, but that's not what I wanted to do with this.
Excellent. Now, do you like classical music at all?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Who's your favorite composer?
Oh boy.
Let's go. Who's your favorite composer, old and then new?
Well, I mean, Mozart, Beethoven. I studied Bach in college. I played Bach on the guitar. I mean, some of the 20th century composers, Aaron Copland. I don't know if you know Aaron Copland.
That's why I asked, because old school, mine is Beethoven, and newer is Copeland.
Yeah.
I love the, oh my gosh, what the heck, the Sunrise, Hoedown, Sunrise.
Oh, yeah.
What's that album? It's where it's like the Grand Canyon. Oh God! I mean,
he
that's
wrote
just
the Appalachian Spring.
yes, yep.
Yeah.
That's just great music,
Right.
So that's
Hillsong?
why I asked.
Hillsong, is it? No. Is it something like that? No, Hillsong. Who does all the Appalachian Spring? Is it Appalachian Spring? The name
Copeland.
of the.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the reason why I asked, and I stopped you right there, I mean, and you're more than welcome to continue if you want, but I stopped you there, is because of the connection that you just saying how there shouldn't be vocals, and it never crossed your mind because, and that reminded me of like the way Copeland writes,
Right.
and listening to these two tunes so far this evening, it reminds me of that. That's why I asked you if you like classical music.
Thank you. It's a compliment. I'll take that as a compliment because this is in no means, by any means, on that level, but that type of music of Aaron Copland, Gustav Holst. I don't know if you know the Planets. That kind of orchestral music. This is kind of like a smaller scale version of that,
Right. That's why I asked, because it reminds me of those composers, because they're very a lot of what they do is very rooted in well, I don't want to say a lot, because as familiar as I am, I'm not so familiar that I should be able to make a statement like this, but since it's my show, I will anyway. A lot of their
Never
stuff
stopped you before.
is rooted, though. If you turn on any kind of like nature show or a show
Right.
about as I said, the Grand Canyon or something like in Wyoming, Yellowstone, you're going to find a Copeland tune.
Right.
A lot of it is rooted in nature.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like they write a soundtrack based on nature. Or these
Yeah, I
people
don't know if you
producing
know,
these shows find that sort of thing.
Dvorak's New World Symphony.
Mm-hmm.
He's a composer from Czechoslovakia, but he came to America. I guess it was the 1800s or something like that, and he was inspired by the landscape, and so that's what he wrote that whole symphony about, the landscape of America.
Yeah, and that's when you said that about the Sourland Symphony. I mean, it's because even where we're at now, we're in the Sourlands right now, and it's just the drive here on Bruce's palatial estate. I mean, the driveway here is 0.2 of a mile long, and it's surrounded by the Sourland Mountains, and it's really one night. And Claire will attest to this. We were, I had picked you up from your job, and we were driving here. And you remember the night of the thunderstorm over that little town of Mount
Yeah.
Airy,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So we're driving here, and it is black as black can be over the ridge of the mountains. And I mean, it was dark, and the lightning was crashing
Right.
all over the place, and we're just looking at each other like, "Wow!" It was just.
It's incredible.
It was incredible. It was. I'm trying to drive and watch the lightning at the same time, which I might have scared the daylights out of Claire. But at this point, but am I wrong?
What else is new?
Am I wrong? Was that just?
No, it was, yeah.
It was
It is,
magnificent.
yeah.
And I mean, I've been to the Grand Canyon. I've been to the South Rim. I've been to the West Rim. And I've watched lightning strikes, and they get like 1,000
Right.
an hour or a minute or something. It's some outrageous figure. And it's just awesome
Yeah,
to
it's-
watch. And I often think of music like Copeland's. And when I hear that you write something like this, it's like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So good for you.
Thank you. Yeah. There's a couple songs that are site specific in the Sourlands. Woosamonsa Valley. There's a place called Roaring Rocks, which is another track on the record. The West Mountain that we just heard was basically the west, inspired by the western side of Sourland Ridge. And then there's another one called Devil's Half Acre Blues, which I didn't give to you guys, but you might like that one.
I have it on Spotify.
Okay,
So-
yeah. That one's on the east side of the mountain over by Hillsboro. It's a real spot. Like you can go there. you
Oh,
know.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have that on Spotify?
I do. You want me to play that now?
Yeah, why not?
Okay,
And then because we still have a couple other ones
We do.
have to get to
Yep.
yet, but
I'm all set.
why not?
Okay.
Now that James has provoked me into playing,
Blues.
It's a little different than Chicago blues, but
It's all right.
that's all right too.
It's Sourland Blues.
Now, why is this? Is that the section of the mountain that you named?
it's
this
not really a
after?
section, but it is a certain spot that was named Devil's Half Acre.
Okay.
It's a lot of rocks and gnarly looking trees, so somebody named it the Devil's Half Acre. So
There you go. All
this
right.
is supposed to be like a haunted, eerie place in the dead of night, so to speak, kind of thing.
Whoa. We should go.
Speak for yourself. You should go all you want.
Devil's Half Acre.
Blues.
Devil's Half Acre
Ooh,
from the
Blues.
blues.
Blues. That's right. Forgot that.
Blues.
So, what? You would not accompany me to such a location?
Yeah, no, over my dead body.
Is that my
It's
cue?
not as haunted as it sounds.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
All right.
I wouldn't go with you because you'd be like,
Well, now,
you'd probably jump out behind a rock and scare me or something.
James and I have played quite a few different, or quite a few of the same places.
Yes.
Not at the same time. We mentioned earlier we played John and Peter's together, which supposedly that upstairs is very haunted,
Oh, really?
up the steps.
Yeah.
We have also played some of the. I mean, you play in New Hope, and some of them, some of them establishments have been around since the 1600s or earlier.
Well, they say the Logan Inn, which they completely redid, but the old Logan Inn, they said that they housed Revolutionary War or Civil War dead soldiers in the inn.
Wow.
Okay, so, it's
So
a morgue,
that's why,
a morgue of sorts.
for a little while, yeah. So that's why a lot of people claim that was haunted.
Yeah.
Maybe
Believe what
it's-
you want to believe. I got a ghost story if you want a ghost story.
Go ahead.
Okay. So further up the river, there's a place called Upper Black Eddy.
Oh yeah.
It's not there anymore, but there used to be an inn there, Upper Black Eddy Inn. My sister and her then boyfriend used to work there. I was a little kid. I was a teenager. And in the summers, I would go hang out with them where they lived up there in Kintnersville. But restaurant downstairs, upstairs, they had rooms that they would stay in overnight sometimes. So they were cooking. The restaurant was packed, busy. They gave me something to eat. I'm sitting upstairs in one of the bedrooms watching TV. Light to me, to the right of me, goes off, goes on, goes off, stays off. Another light to the left of me goes off, goes on, goes off, stays off. I'm sitting there in the dark watching TV. TV, off, on, stays off. So now I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I go downstairs. I tell my sister and her boyfriend, and they're like, well, we're busy. When the dinner's over, we'll go check it out. So a couple hours later, they go up and look to see what the problem is. All the plugs were pulled out. Believe what you want to believe, but that's what they told me, and
Whoa.
I was in the room when the lights and the TV went off. So
The upper
Black Eddy,
Right,
yeah.
that was up there by the Cuddaloosa and the Black Bass, right? In that area?
A little further up, going
Yeah.
towards Regalsville, yeah.
Yes. Those two were also fairly supposedly. Well, there's so much history in this area.
Yeah.
Washington's Crossing Park, and so many battles of the American Revolution were fought on both sides of the river, from Bordentown all the way up to Princeton and beyond, and then in Jersey, and then in Pennsylvania all the way up from and west to Valley Forge. I mean, there was just so much that happened, and it's very easy. I could see where there may be some testy spirits.
Well,
Activity.
nothing like that has happened to me since then, but it was pretty freaky when you're
Definitely.
14 and like, what the hell's going on here?
Yikes.
So you stayed downstairs, I guess, at that time after
Yeah.
that happened?
Stop putting TV back on.
If you're just tuning in, we're here with James Popick. He has a brand new digitally released project called Sourland Symphony, which is excellent. It's an all instrumental album
It's on Spotify.
showcasing some of the most incredible musicians from this area where we are here, New Hope, New Jersey, Hopewell, Pennsylvania, on kind of both sides of the bridge. The talent on both sides of the bridge is really cool. Yeah, very, very professional.
Yeah, I love living here. It's great.
What attracted you? You said you grew up in South Plainfield. What attracted you to come down here?
It's a long story, Danny. You don't want to hear that, man.
Because South Plainfield
about
has
a
one of
girl?
my
It's an old
favorite.
woman, yes. It's an old
One of
woman story.
Yeah,
Is
it's a
it
woman.
Plainfield or South Plainfield? Has the Polish home on Durham Avenue.
South Plainfield.
South Plainfield, yeah, it's one of my favorite spots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if I was to move north, it would have to be like somewhere around that.
Okay.
So, what attracted you down here?
Like I said, it's an old girlfriend story.
Oh, one of those deals.
One of those deals, yeah.
Okay.
It's always about it. You got to see about a girl.
Well, do you remember when I flew out to California to do
Yeah.
that MC thing for my friend V? Right. Before I take off in the morning, I was there and I somehow got right through security at Philadelphia's airport, and I'm going out to beyond Palm Springs, about 50 miles south of Palm Springs.
Wow.
But you had to fly into Palm Springs. So this woman, I'm eating breakfast in one of the overpriced cafes there, yeah. And this woman comes, she goes, "Do you mind if I sit down with you?" I'm like, "No." So she just starts chatting with me, and she said, "I'm finally going home to California." It turns out she was on my flight. And I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Well, what attracted you here?" And she said, "Well, I was chasing." I'll leave it up to your imagination what she was chasing, but that's how she wound up out here. And it seems that, it's not just men following women. It can be the other way as well.
Why would that? Why?
Apparently, well, a lot of things I could say right now, but I will not. So, all right, so you find yourself down here, and well, when did you start playing music? When did you become a musician?
Well, professionally, or just in life. I was a little kid. I took piano lessons when I was second grade.
Okay.
So if you want to look at it in that way, I've been playing my whole life. I started on guitar when I was in, middle school, like seventh grade. Got really into it in high school. Started kicking around, just some friends. Nothing professional yet, but as I said before, I ended up going to college for music, and then started out playing professionally. Then not a lot, but if you look at it in that way, it's just always, just always playing somewhere, either at home on the piano or, with bands and things like that.
And so you do that, and at what point did you say, "You know what? I'm going to throw caution to the wind, and I'm going to make my living doing this"?
It wasn't until I was out of college, living with some friends. I moved down to the Jersey Shore. I was living there for a while, and I actually had an office job, but it was in the music business kind of. I was working for BMI. And so I wasn't really doing music full time, although it was music associated. But the office that I was working in moved to Nashville, and some of the people that were working there went to Nashville, but I didn't. I ended up working at this computer sales company. I was like, man, I can't fucking do this, So at that point, I was like, I'm going to put my education to work, and if I don't make so much money, that's fine. But that was, I guess, not until I was maybe like 28,
Okay.
about that time. Yeah.
Because a lot of people, of course, there was the old, get a haircut and get a real job. It's crew. And then there are those who think that people such as yourself are, for lack of a better term, ridiculous because you can't make money doing that.
No.
And then there are the others, such as myself, who look at people like you and say it takes a lot of freaking guts to
Or insanity. Yes.
well, to go hand in hand to step out on that limb and and hope it doesn't snap off. And because, and I've talked about it often on this show, Gary Ween from New Jersey Stage, he often, or he wrote a book called Beyond the Palace. It was the music history of Asbury Park. It was a great freaking book. If anybody, I don't even know if it's still on Amazon, but if anybody comes, it is fantastic. And in the one section, he talks about when Springsteen used to go to the Upstage Club on Cookman and Bangs in Asbury Park. And Bruce wanted a certain gentleman to play keyboards for him as he was putting together the band that would eventually become the E Street Band. And the guy said no because he was going to college, and which I believe was Harvard. So, and Bruce uttered some quote about if you have Plan B, then your Plan A never happens.
Exactly.
Because if you always have something to fall back on, you have 1,000 reasons why you can't make Plan A work, or you don't try as hard, or you don't. If Plan A is all you've got, and the difference between Plan A and eating dinner is, maybe taking a lousy gig or something. You'll do it just so you can keep perpetuating
you find a way to make it happen.
Right, exactly. And so many times, so many people have a fallback plan or a crutch and then they sit back and go, well, why isn't this happening?
And 25 years later,
right? Yep. Oh, it's not like I didn't try. No, you didn't. It's not that you didn't try. You just didn't give it what you would have if you had no other option.
Beyond the Palace is available on Kindle edition.
Is it?
It is on Amazon, and the paperback is out there, but it's $30.
Yeah,
check it out.
I have the paperback. It's a great book.
Wow, cool.
It's probably, for those of you watching on radio, it's probably about that thick. I mean, it's not something you're going to read in a night.
It's 405 pages.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just check it out.
We continue to amaze our guest this evening.
I know. He's very excited.
His
It's
excitement
very nice.
over this is
The hits keep on coming.
outstanding. That's right. And speaking of which, we have a couple more tunes we got to
do.
get to yet.
Yes, we do.
Which one would you like us to play now?
Well, let's get sort of funky. This record is definitely not funky, but there's a song on here called The Shag Bark Shuffle, which is a favorite of my girlfriend, Katie. Hello, Katie. So why don't we do that one?
Okay.
All right.
Shag Bark Shuffle. For you drummers out there, it starts in 5/4.
Whoa.
Ooh.
And what is shagbark?
Shagbark is a tree that's kind of iconic in the Sourlands. They call it shagbark because the bark on it always looks like it's peeling off, like you can actually grab onto it, and the leaves have 5 petals, so that's why I wrote the main theme in 5.
Well, when you said that,
Nice.
you said get funky. Why? And Lawrence Welk immediately came along.
Lawrence Welk.
And a 1 and a 2.
Get down and get funky with the fabulous Lemon Sisters. No, but these
That
are
sounds
not
like Tim Conway.
These are not your Lemon Sisters here. This is James Poppick and his project Sourland Symphony with the song called
Shagbark Shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There we go.
Woohoo.
James Popick and
Very
his
cool.
Sourland Symphony.
I like it.
Very cool stuff.
Yep.
One
Does that remind you of Foghorn Leghorn?
Yes, definitely.
My girlfriend says it reminds her of Foghorn Leghorn.
Did she ever say why?
Oh,
Well, it sounds a little
it's got the,
cartoony, like, yeah.
that's what she pictures when she hears that rhythm, like like a funky chicken or something. You know?
The funky chicken. I'm a chicken hawk.
He's
You're a chicken.
He's a rooster.
What was that other one? Was that? Yeah, that was also Foghorn Leghorn, right?
What?
I hear the bell. I just come out. I come out punching because he wanted him to beat up the dog,
Oh yeah,
Oh.
his adversary. Yeah. Well, when you said that, for some reason, Beaky Buzzard also went through my mind. Remember Beaky Buzzard?
No.
No, who's Beaky Boat?
Do 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 do.
Oh.
do.
Hey, we're gonna go off on a tangent of like old cartoons now.
Wouldn't be the first time.
It was the one where he was flying. My mama done told me.
That reminds me of Ricochet Rabbit's
Oh gosh.
Bing, bing, bing.
sidekick. Who was
Ricochet
he?
Rabbit.
You know, Ricochet Rabbit's sidekick.
Yeah. Oh, Ricochet Rabbit.
Deputy Droopalong.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
yes.
right, yes,
Ooh,
yes.
Ricochet.
I'm a common Ricochet.
That's right.
Excellent. See, there's well, we were talking while that was going out over the air about how cartoons, at least the ones that I grew up on back in the dark ages, but
you had cartoons?
we,
Didn't they just draw them back then?
yeah, Flintstones. But they exposed you to a lot of things for the first time. Classical music. I remember a real old Hanna-Barbera cartoon that had Carmen Miranda. in it.
Right.
You know, so there was Latin music, there was
Right.
classical music, there was we were talking about the Bugs Bunny with the square dance. You know,
They don't make them like they used to, man.
Nope.
they don't,
Yeah.
but these were the things that.
Formed us.
Well, yeah, on my head yet. You know, there was all kinds of. The one that exposed me the most to the classical music on Bugs Bunny was when he was pretending to be Leopold.
Oh, the conductor?
Conductor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leopold.
I wish my brother George was here.
See, I mean, and it's
the thing going up and down.
his shirt tie.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And kids today, sadly, they don't get interest. I saw a study somewhere where interest in music is really dropped.
It's an uphill battle.
Even in the
Kinda
schools.
Tying a couple things together. You were talking about Springsteen before, and nowadays they're emphasizing the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And little Steven has been very outspoken and involved in turning it into STEAM,
Yeah.
adding the A for arts.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm with him on that.
Yeah, my daughter is a music teacher
Yeah.
in a school, and she's going to be doing the STEAM
Mhm.
this year as
Good.
the part of it.
And the thing that stinks is whenever they make budget cuts, the first thing they cut
Yeah.
are arts.
Mhm.
Doesn't make
And
any
music.
sense to me.
Yeah.
The football team could be 0 for the last 10 years, and that stays.
Got to build that new stadium.
Right. But you could be producing musicians and, got to cut music. So it's...
Or make do with less.
Right. And so I guess what I'm saying is that for you to put out an all instrumental album, that also takes guts.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can't, it's not like you're going to be getting a ton of radio airplay where people are going to say, "Oh, did you hear this new song by James Popick?"
Right.
Because it's all instrumental.
It's definitely
you're
a
gonna get
labor
it-
of love. It's a labor of
Well,
love.
no, but you're going to get it here. You're going to get it maybe on a XPN, or you're
Right.
going to get it on. You're going to get it on the stations that are either underground or just above
Mhm.
ground. The ones that people absolutely love, but they don't get the props of like your major FM conglomerates,
Right.
Because they're not owned by Beasley Broadcasting or that where it's all about money.
No Clear Channel. Yeah.
Right. You see, the stations where you're going to get to play for this, or the stations where the radio personalities, as we are called now, or DJs, are going to be able to pick and choose your music.
Right. It's curated
right.
by an individual who has certain tastes, as opposed to just a marketing whatever.
Executive.
Yeah.
Right. No, because and this is the truth. A couple of years ago, I was hired by a station called Pop Radio 77. WPOP 77 was an internet station. This gentleman set up this station exactly like you would a major terrestrial radio station. And what he did was, it was complete with you had to do the weather on the hour, the traffic on another time, the commercial breaks were But what he did was he bought playlists. And with the playlist, you as the radio personality were responsible for talking during the breaks in the playlist, and you had 10 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever you want, 30 seconds to fill, as well as making sure that the playlists lined up so that at the top of the hour, there was the weather, which meant the song couldn't go off at 8 o'clock right on the dot. It had to go off at like 7:59 and 59 seconds because at 8 o'clock the weather started.
Real.
So there was the whole real aspect of radio involved in that. It wasn't freeform or like this, which I have no idea what this is.
Beyond free form.
But in that time, we had several radio personalities that worked for Philadelphia stations, because this was down in Franklinville, New Jersey, and they were they worked for the B101, they worked for WMGK, they worked for a station out of Cape May. I can't remember what it was, but these were legitimate terrestrial radio personalities, and this guy lured them over with the promises of more pay and more this and more that. Of course, none of that ever happened, and he was sued, and he's in jail now. But
It's true. True story.
Wow.
It is
They
true.
popped him.
That is, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the truth. He was popped, all right. So, but in today's radio world, and these individuals that came from them terrestrial stations in Philly told me, I'm just thrilled that I can adjust the playlist here.
Right.
Because on those major conglomerates, as a radio personality, there's a playlist that plays, and you can't alter it.
No.
And I'll never forget, I called Cindy Drew when my daughter moved into Monmouth for her senior year at Monmouth University. I was driving there to help her. So I called Cindy, because her and I are friendly. I'm like, Cindy, I need some Zeppelin, man. I'm going to move my daughter in. What do you got? She goes, you're going to have to wait 45 minutes.
Yeah.
45 minutes? I'll be there. What do you... She goes, they won't let me
It's
adjust.
all prescribed. Yeah.
Yep. And you can't, as a radio personality, you can't alter it. So essentially all you do is babysit. So with stuff like what you've got going on here, there'd be people like myself and the people at XPN, and as I said, maybe DVR here in
I visited Andrew Kinn last month. He was kind enough to have me on his show there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I tried. He was going to come in here and be my guest, and we were just going to talk radio and everything, and then he disappeared on me. I kind of feel like a jilted lover. He won't even return my calls.
He's not like that. He's not like that.
That's another story for another time. But so I give you credit, man, for doing it.
Yeah,
I love it.
mean,
It's great stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Is that you have this music and it doesn't matter. Like, you just have to get it out, either live or on a record somehow. So
Well, what's
Like-
the end game then for you? Do you want to get like placements in licensing, movies, TV?
That would be fantastic. Yeah, like we were talking about before with the classical music, like Aaron Copeland. If they could use this kind of music for documentaries, or even a small section of it, 45 seconds inside of a TV show or something like that. But that's just gravy. I'm just happy to have created it, have people give people the opportunity to listen to it, and whatever happens, it happens.
No.
I mean, I'm actively promoting it. Obviously, I want more people to hear it, maybe make a little bit of money back, but it's really just about the music. So,
Well, speaking of people, websites and everything again.
my website, jamespopickmusic.com.
And the album is on Bandcamp.
The
right?
album is on
Under your name.
Bandcamp,
Mhm.
so you can check it out there.
Mhm.
And as we mentioned before, there will be vinyl coming out next month.
Nice.
If anybody's listening, they can send me an email via the website, and I'll hand pick it and hand deliver it to you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Woohoo.
What do you have for upcoming gigs?
Oh, man. A lot. I've been fortunate enough to be pretty busy. I got a couple solo shows coming up this week. One local is at the New Hope Winery. In the pub there, Supernova will be in the theater at the New Hope Winery in November 24th. But let me see if I can just pull up my own website, because I don't even know, Danny. I have to look at my own website to see when I'm playing.
That's okay too. I have. You said you're going to be at the pub at New Hope Winery. This weekend is that?
Sunday afternoon, 1 to 4.
1 to 4.
As I mentioned, Gold Rush will be at Havana in New Hope, Pennsylvania, August 2nd. One of my jazz groups is playing a monthly residence at the Encore Speakeasy, which is downstairs at
Ooh.
Shanghai Jazz in Madison.
Cool.
That's on Thursdays. The next one is August 8th. We have this running gig at the National Hotel in Frenchtown. That's the second Saturday of every month. Gold Rush is going on the road a little bit. We're going to be up in upstate New York. Thanks to you, Danny, I will see you at the
That's right.
festival, Long Branch Jazz
Ooh-wee.
and Blues Festival in August 24th. Supernova is going to be in Somerville. There's Somerville concerts. That's out on Division Street, September 13th.
Oh, I've done that gig.
Yeah.
It was a day like today. It was about
Oh,
95,
my God.
even at 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So, yeah, I appreciate you asking. Check out the website. It's all there.
So you're a busy man coming up.
Thank God. Keep me out of trouble.
Well, we're going to keep you out of further trouble. We have, I think, one tune left, Claire.
Yep, we
Right?
do.
What is it that we have left? Which one?
We have the. You're gonna make me say it, aren't you?
The Wusamansa.
Usamansa.
That's a road right down the street here.
Wusamansa.
It is a road,
The valley.
and this is one of the site-specific pieces that I mentioned earlier. There's a new preserve there called the Wusamansa Preserve. The name of the song is Wusamansa Valley. It's actually the headwaters of Jacobs Creek, which empties
Oh, really?
into the Delaware.
Yeah.
Wusamansa, I think, is a Native American term.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And I think it refers to the shagbark trees. I looked it up. It's like the Wusamansa means like the wavy trees or something like that.
Okay.
So
There we go.
All right. Well, once again, I'm here with James Popick. This is Rock On Radio, and this is his Sourland Symphony, and the song is called
Usamansa Valley.
there it is. You got it. 1, 2, 3.
There we go. Sourland Symphony, James Popick, and I'm so glad you made the trip.
Thank you.
We were
I
just
can't thank you enough for having me, Dan. Seriously, it's like, we don't get to hang that often.
That's true.
But this is great just to come and talk about music and life and, shoot the breeze for a little bit.
Well, and as we were saying while that was going out via the airwaves there, that you're the first guest who, when I told them where it was, didn't go, oh, because at least you're somewhat local to this. But most of the time, this show over its 15 years of existence has had the majority of where I would draw from. I mean, I've drawn from all over the state and from all over the country on half a dozen or so occasions. But the majority was always from like the Jersey Shore area for whatever reason. That's just where I gravitated to, and vice versa. So moving here for them is a haul,
Right.
so to speak. But and I was Claire and I were saying that I was thinking about maybe changing direction a little bit and starting to hit this area a little
there's
more.
a lot of people that you don't even know they live here
I know.
because they want to like hide out a little bit, but there's a ton of super talented people who live around the area.
Yeah. We had Chris Harford in.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Harford was from
I was
here.
just looking. That was
Yeah.
a year ago.
Was it a year ago,
Yeah.
really? Todd the Mod.
Yep.
We had Kevin Rovner. Who else was there? Was another person that we also had in like the New Hope area. It was nice. It's nice having local people come in.
Yeah, and so what do you have going forward? What are you going to do to? I mean, you got all those gigs. I know. Are there any other promotional plans for this?
Was trying to organize a concert to play the music from the record at Hopewell Theater, and the folks from the Hopewell Valley Arts Council have been very nice to me, and they've been helpful. They were offering to be the host at the theater for a concert. But the owner of the theater, there's a couple people, and they're not sure what they want to do. They want to. They're thinking about selling it. They're thinking about expanding it. But in doing that, there's all sorts of problems with the town of Hopewell, parking and all that kind of stuff. So for now, it's kind of up in the air. They keep telling me it's a possibility. If I don't have it there,
that's currently closed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's closed. So I'm trying to find another place. I just spoke to a friend of mine today, this morning, about possibly having it in Princeton.
Oh, cool.
So there's a couple other venues. We might even have it at the Hopewell Presbyterian Church. But we'll see. I'm trying to find a location to have a legit concert with everybody that was on the record.
Nice.
May not happen until like spring.
Well, let us know.
Yeah.
I'd love to come. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, we'll talk when we get off the air. I know the person who handles Palmer Square very well. So
Fantastic.
That's another option, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they have the music series there as well, right? So, see Claire give me the finger.
She did.
I gave you the correct finger.
Yeah.
It was not the Jersey salute, though.
No.
It was your number one.
I actually read an entire thing on how that came about.
Did you now?
Yeah, the middle finger meaning
Interesting.
what it does.
Okay.
But that's
We'll
a whole
save it for
other
another
story.
day.
That's another story.
Different time. Websites and everything again.
James Popick, Popik, jamespopikmusic.com, and then from there you can go to the socials and Bandcamp and all that.
Fantastic.
Yay.
All right, well, check it out because the Sourland Symphony is how many tracks?
9.
9 tracks of instrumental bliss.
Beautiful.
Ooh, there you go.
I
Beautiful.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
I
very
do.
much.
Instrumental bliss. That's going to be
yeah.
the title of my next record, man.
See? I don't even want any rights for that. Next week, we have Deco Entertainment artists, Southpaw,
Woo!
which is only fitting since we've done it. They've never been here, so
Not here, but they were they were with us right before they signed.
No, they've never been here
in this.
to the 2-track studios. So this is going to be new for them.
Very cool.
All right. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
James
Thanks, everybody, for
Popek,
tuning
it is
in. Thank
always
you,
a
Claire.
Pleasure to hang out with you,
All
man.
right, man. See
So
ya.
until next week.
Rock on!
Woo!